This is Smörgåsbord!
Welcome to Smörgåsbord, a show where we explore the rituals, myths, and all things strange about the world of food. I am Mick, and here is my co-host,
Angel.
And today we are covering vampire killing food.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Okay, cool.
Foods that kill harmful foods for vampires?
Like not blood?
Yeah, not blood. We did blood, I think, a long time ago.
Yeah.
So this time we'll do
I always assume that vampires, if they eat anything that's not blood-based, they'll just have a really unfortunate bout of diarrhea and then die. Which is not very romantic.
No. But then you see movies where they have vampires having
wine,
fancy
and they
dinners
definitely like alcohol.
But do they even, if they're like immortal, do they even need to eat? Or they don't even get drunk?
But they're not like super immortal, because if they go in the sun, they fry. And then you can definitely stab them with some wood and then they'll die too.
True.
So I don't know. Their immortality is questionable.
Can vampires have indigestion? Allergies?
Maybe. It's like, are they dead? We don't know.
Yeah.
Or are they half dead?
I think they count as undead.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means their bodily functions aren't really functioning, yet they still need blood. They still need to like ingest something.
Yeah, maybe that's all they need is blood. I don't know. We're not vampires yet.
No, we're not. I don't want to be a vampire.
What mythical creature thingy do you prefer?
I don't know that I can think of one right now. I was gonna say appetizing. That's not the right word. Enticing.
Was it a griffin? Is that the eagle lion thing?
Yeah. No, I don't want to. No.
What was the horse people?
Centaurs.
They seem
cool. That doesn't seem fun either.
I just want to be a whale.
That's not mythical, dude.
I know, but I just want to be a whale.
Okay, you can be a whale. That's fine.
Anyway, it's been a while since we've done this, because I've been busy getting married and
yeah,
you've been traveling.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start the episode with what's in our palate. Any tasty treats from your travels in LA?
Well, my favorite place in LA is called Tokyo Fried Chicken.
Oh yeah.
It's in Alhambra. If anybody is in that area, definitely go buy yourself big buckets full of stuff.
Is it chicken?
It is chicken.
Oh, okay.
But I think there's one of their sides needs a shout out. It's roasted. Oh my God, what is that vegetable that everybody hates, but it's actually really good?
Avocados?
No, Brussels sprouts.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, they're roasted Brussels sprouts. Get like 3 sides of that.
Per person?
Per person, yes.
Ooh.
It's so good.
I'm sad I never got to try that. I guess I have to go back to LA.
Mm-hmm. Put it on like top of your list. Tokyo Fried Chicken. Yeah.
Is their fried chicken good?
Their fried chicken's amazing.
Ooh.
But that's just a given. That's why I needed to talk about the side.
Do they have like different flavored fried chicken? Or are they kind of we do one type of fried chicken kind of?
There's a few different types.
Okay, cool. So I'll go there multiple times.
Yes.
Try it all.
When things were open, they're not doing dine-in right now. Like it used to be quite a long wait and they don't take reservations. Just so you know.
Wow. Okay. I'll just do takeout. Do they Uber?
They do, yeah. I've been dashing them.
All right, I'll do that from Vancouver.
Yeah, I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah. What was in our palette? Well, we had a wedding with 2 people, which is me and her. Oh, we had a cake.
I would hope it's 2 people instead of 1.
I had a wedding alone. I got married to my finger.
Yikes.
We had so much food actually. So uncles made us a custom dinner package because we were after the wedding. We wanted to go to Whistler, which is a 2-hour drive. So this uncle's fried chicken snack shop. We asked them if they had any food that could survive for 2 hours, and then they said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll figure something out for you." And they gave that to us as a wedding gift. So that was kind of cool.
But what was it?
They had like a Saigon meatball noodle thing, which is super tasty and vegetarian, but still tasty. They had salted egg ribs. They had a pomelo salad. There were a bunch of other stuff. It was.
That all sounds really good.
Oh, there were truffle tater tots.
Dang, truffles.
Yeah, so the car smelled like tater tots and truffles on the way up, which is
Truffles
awesome.
smell like a wet fart sometimes if it's too strong.
Yeah, this one did not.
Thank
Fortunately,
goodness.
yeah. And then we got a cake from the Sweet Thea, and they made us a lemon raspberry cake with like a chocolate coating. So that was awesome.
I'm just picturing you guys with like zero luggage, but food in the trunk.
You say that, but it's half true. We had, those restaurant bins, the gray like little bin thing. So we had 2 of those for food,
filled with stuff
for a 3-day
Sounds
trip.
like a good
Fill
time.
that up with food.
You guys are acting like they don't have food up there.
It's Whistler. I mean, this lodge we went to is a beautiful lodge, but food is not one of their strong suits. It's pretty vanilla.
Right, so. I can imagine.
Pretty much. It was a pretty standard one. And then they had like your token Asian dish and your token falafel.
It's always Asian noodle salad.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay, cool. Thanks. But I don't know. It's we look at the menu and then you ever look at a menu and then feel like nothing there is appetizing?
Yeah, all the time.
Like Cactus Club menus or like Earl's menus. It's just kind of like that. It's like, oh, this does not look exciting or enticing.
That is their crowd.
It's like you open the menu and you're like, oh, I just got full. Anyway. But yeah, the food we brought was good. My mom brought a charcuterie board for us too, and we didn't finish a lot of our food. There was way too much food for 2 people.
Could have given it to me.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't.
Well, you were
it was very far away.
But speaking of food or lack thereof, we're doing vampires who hardly eat. And the ones we're going to talk about are the food that will harm vampires. I guess because we did werewolves just before we went on a break, so we're going to do vampires this time. We'll put a link to our vampire and blood episode in case anyone wants to listen to that, because that's not what we're covering today. But anyway, the origins of the vampire.
Oh, we're going way back.
We're going a little way back. I was curious what vampires were like back then. But the origins of the word vampire itself go as far back as 1734, apparently in a travelogue titled The Travels of 3 English Gentlemen. Sounds like the beginning of a Hallmark YouTube channel.
Don't remind me.
But apparently countries like France, Germany, Austria also have evidence of the use of the word vampire outside of this travelogue. In France, they were called vampire, Vampyre instead of I.
Vampire.
In Germany and Siberia, or Serbia, they're called vampire, Vampire. There's also some evidence of the ideas of vampires existing as early as as early as ancient Egypt or China. Essentially, just kind of, if we simplify the definition of vampire as creatures from the dead that drink blood or suck souls, then
so is it specific like blood? That's how they differentiate from zombies, who are also undead.
Yeah, They differentiate it from zombies by categorizing it as drinking blood or sucking souls.
Got it.
Yeah. The origin of the idea of the vampire, on the other hand, seems to root from the fear of the dead, I guess from like an anthropological perspective.
Dead or dying.
Yeah. Or more like, how do I fear of the dead coming back to life to haunt the living after you bury them.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Like that's kind of where the idea of a vampire came up, like the origins of it, I guess, in terms of ideology. For the most part, in the science perspective, it might be just because people confuse dead bodies as coming back to life sometimes. For example, when your body decomposes, sometimes fluids come out, or your skin shrinks, or even sometimes your nails can continue to grow. And people tend to think back then that were like signs that maybe these dead bodies would come back to life at night to like suck on the blood of people. That's why fluids fill up their soul or their bodies or stuff like that.
They're very imaginative.
Yeah, but really they're just pooping.
Yeah,
Dead poop.
they just off gassing, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Disease was also another cause that led people to believe in vampires. The plague, for example, would leave people with blood in their mouths, which were thought to be blood of other people. Porphyria is another disease that is believed to have roots of vampiric belief. Interestingly, today, there's still no cure for this disease, but here are some symptoms, and tell me if this sounds like vampires. Sensitivity to sunlight, sometimes causing blisters.
Check.
Your gums could recede, showing more of your teeth.
Check.
Aversion to sulfur, which garlic has.
Mm.
Rabies also apparently can cause aversion to garlic, but yeah, you tend to be averse to sulfur, and garlic has sulfur. Facial disfigurements, which can cause people to potentially avoid mirrors.
Mm. Okay.
And red urine?
And what?
Red urine.
Oh.
That one I feel like is a little bit of a
red.
stretch, but in terms of vampire. But I guess because like, oh, you're peeing all the blood that you sucked.
I'm looking at pictures of porphyria right now, and it is not sexy.
Is it like blue waffles?
No, there's a lot of faces falling apart.
Oof.
There's a lot of hand pictures,
Right.
like boils on hands and general ungood ungood things.
Do any of them look like vampires?
No, I guess like I'm used to the idea of vampires being kind of hot.
Like good looking
Kind
hot
of
or
pretty,
like
yeah. Not like on fire hot unless they've gone outside.
Maybe they were hot and then they got blisters from the sun.
And then they were just not hot.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no, there's definitely like an element of sexiness in vampire lore.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess when I think of vampires, I think of them as like super clothed in like Victorian clothing.
Oh, right. Yeah, layers upon layers upon layers.
Yeah, with like those hanging
billowy
cuff tassels, yeah, and penguin suits.
It's very specific.
Yeah. Well, the ones that have like the tails in the back of the suit,
tailcoats.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, so in terms of like what traits vampires could have, the porphyria, as we said, the symptoms do remind us of vampires. The simplest definition I found of a vampire, if we want to like cut it down to just one definition, is a creature that feeds on the essence of the living. But obviously this makes it that it kind of gets close to zombies as well. In some ways, I would argue that they're kind of related, probably, like the same way squids and octopus are related.
They're adjacent.
Yeah. Adjacent
They're
relation.
Undead adjacent.
Like same family, different genus.
Right. I can see a family tree happening.
Yeah. Specifically, though, there are some other traits that can potentially define a vampire. In earlier times, this is what they actually defined vampires to be: bloated in appearance, darker skin, blood or fluids seeping through the mouth, longer teeth, hair, or nails, dead and may not be decomposing as fast as usual. Plus the other symptoms of porphyria we mentioned, like sensitivity to light and aversion to garlic. And in some countries, even deformities like facial ones. So, as you can see, back in the day, very much not a hot vampire.
The opposite.
Yeah. Today, though, I think what are more common are, aside from the blood drinking, are having fangs, being averse to sunlight, having potentially morphing abilities like changing into bats or different animals, hypnotic powers, super strength, and having no shadows or reflections.
And they're
being hot.
usually really pale.
Yeah, paling. I looked also in some ways that people in history have tried to find and determine who's a vampire and how to find if there's a vampire in your area. So one of it is because they do come out from coffins, is finding holes in graveyards. So that's potentially a sign of a vampire. The other one, which is highly specific and kind of strange, is you lead a virgin boy and a virgin black horse through a graveyard, and the horse will not want to travel to any grave that has a vampire in it.
What does the boy do?
I don't know.
It's just there.
It just says, bring a virgin boy and a virgin black horse through a graveyard. Okay. If a horse doesn't want to go to that near that grave, it's probably a vampire.
All right. Science.
Yeah. I don't know what the boy has to do with any of that. Just... maybe he's there to make eggs.
Do they prevent vampires from vampiring?
I mean, the virgin boy eggs were said to be very sulfuric.
And very holy.
Yeah, so... so Ew. Maybe? Yeah. Vampires today, though, are mostly believed to be fictional, not these creatures of the grave anymore. I think the entertainment industry has had a lot to do with that. And we mostly see them now in literature and media. Now I want to talk about some famous vampires. I only have two. So Count Dracula is one.
He's an important one.
He is. He was a fictional vampire that was born from Bram Stoker, an Irish author, who actually was inspired by our story from Romania of a guy named Vlad Dracula, who was born in Transylvania.
The Impaler. I know about him.
Yeah, Vlad the Impaler. Vlada the Impala.
He liked to skewer people.
Yeah. On a
it was a hobby.
Stick.
It's a passion of his.
He went on a war, went to find himself, and came back realizing that he wanted to stab people.
Staking people is like where joy is at.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, red wine is cool, but have you ever tried
staking people and then drinking the blood of that like ran down the poles?
Yeah. I prefer it with a teaspoon and a side of sugar.
That's such like a niche way of killing people.
It's like, I only kill people by impaling them.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, it's pretty creative.
Would he do that, still kill people that way in the battlefield?
Oh no, this is just for his entertainment.
It's like, hold on, let me just
chop down this tree.
Just wait.
Impale you with it.
I gotta put the stake down in the ground. Yeah, so Vlad the Impaler, he was a brutal ruler in Romania in the 1400s. The inspiration of Count Dracula came from here because of, pretty much just him killing people and drinking blood. Some say that he would even dip his bread in the blood of his victims.
Sometimes that bread is just so dry, dude.
Yeah. It's like, I get that you like butter, but have you tried blood?
Bludder.
You get a little bit of butter. You get a little bit of blood, a little bit of sugar, put in the bread. Ooh, nice and
A little
sweet.
butter.
Yeah. Another vampire who's also probably popular, but unlike Count Dracula, she's actually real, is Mercy Brown, who was a real human being who lived in Rhode Island and in the late 1800s. Apparently, many of Mercy's family mysteriously died, including Mercy. And when Mercy's father exhumed Mercy's grave, he noticed that her body did not decay as much as everybody else in the family, and she had blood in her mouth. A reason why they actually exhumed her was because I think because she died first and then all her family members started dying. So they're like, something wrong about all of this. And then they thought maybe there's a vampire. So when they checked Mercy out and she wasn't decaying as much and she had blood in her mouth, they're like, oh no, she's totally a vampire.
Mystery solved.
Mystery solved, yeah. So they cut her heart out and burned it and then fed the remains to her brother, who was also getting sick. Like the same way that the other dead family members were. In a crazy twist of events, he died. It didn't work.
Shocker.
Shocker. George was probably like, oh, shocking. Oh, mercy. It didn't work.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Wait, they're in Rhode Island. That's America. Why do they sound British?
Maybe they sounded British in the 1800s.
No.
Maybe
More
maybe.
Britishy. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway,
Either way.
continue.
It was actually because they were British that they died.
Yes, like all other Brits, they died.
Yeah, they just died of Britishness.
Ism.
Yeah. But apparently what really caused all these deaths were tuberculosis, not actually vampirism.
That's what I thought.
So she
But
wasn't
like
real.
it's either cholera or TB, I don't know, or malaria.
Right.
Something.
Yeah. It's a surprise she wasn't a real vampire. But for a while people thought she was.
Cool.
She became popular
cool
for that. Yeah. Cool disguise, girl. Her slow decay also was eventually explained by the fact that it was winter when she died. And the blood was likely just the blood in her mouth was just bodily fluids that come out of your body.
Off-gassing, dude.
Yeah. Some people drool, some people just blood out. But anyway.
As so it happens when your body is falling apart.
Yeah. But let's assume for a second that vampires are true, are real. How would one potentially kill a vampire?
You stab them with wood.
Yeah, just like Vlada the Impala.
Ooh, I like how that gets turned around on him.
Yeah, right? You stake vampires is one way to do it. Usually you have to do it while they're in their graves resting. Wood made of hawthorn apparently is usually recommended, but in reality, it doesn't really matter. The idea of staking comes from the concept of keeping them grounded so they don't move.
Okay.
So some people even believe that iron or metal is more effective because it's not going to break.
Trying to kill a vampire with IKEA, like a table leg.
Yeah. Just put an entire belly on him.
It just falls apart because it's particle wood.
Yeah. In Italy, putting a brick on a vampire's mouth was a way to apparently do it back in the 16th century. In Germany, soil in the mouth or a stone or a coin can stop a vampire from chewing or, I guess, eating or gnawing on bodies. But yeah, generally just putting something on them so they don't move. That's a good kind of way to deal with one. Sunlight is another one, depending on which vampire you are. The modern day Twilight ones are sunlight resistant, but they have many other weaknesses. Like
a sparkling is not a weakness.
No. Decapitation is another way to kill a vampire. Just take the head off. Unlike
that generally kills a lot of things.
A lot of things, yeah. So does burning.
Yeah, that's a kill way to kill things.
Or holy objects is one other one. So, or even holy grounds. Rowan is a common wood to use to make crosses. Apparently, that is used to ward away vampires. This one's not necessarily killing a vampire, but you might kill the vampire's vibe. Is just not inviting him in.
Oh, right.
Because vampires aren't
Yeah, I
allowed.
forgot that that's a rule. That's weird.
Unless they're invited. Yeah, I was trying to figure out why. And I was like, well, we're not really doing that. So
Because they're polite. Okay.
that's why I think of them in fancy clothing. Because they're polite. It's like, oh please, sir. Can I
May I come in? No. Oh dear.
Oh dear. George! This woman's not letting me in.
Oh. So you can literally, if you're running from a vampire, you can just go inside and be like anywhere.
Yeah.
And be like, you can't come in here, bitch.
Yeah, it's like porta potty. Yeah, that will. But as we are a food-based podcast, we are also going to cover other ways to kill vampires using food.
Nice.
I find a lot. One, as we talked about holy objects, would be holy water. So just making them drink holy water.
Nice.
I wonder if you mix holy water with blood, will it still?
I mean, that'll be tricksy, right? That's
Yeah.
like poisoning them, literally.
Yeah. Like, what if I kind of rub some holy water on my neck before? It's like, yeah, just let me put some ointment.
It depends on like how lethal it actually is. Like, how much holy water do you need to kill one?
That's a good question. Based on the
Like,
movies, it seems like you have to kind of like shower them with it.
yeah, I feel like if you just like sprinkle it a little bit, it'll just be kind of irritating.
Yeah, it'd be like a little rash. But if they're really
want to
hot,
make sure
they're not going to be hot anymore after that rash.
Yeah, their skin will have fallen off.
Yeah. Another one is salt. So this one is a little bit of a stretch because you use salt to stop a vampire in its tracks. Apparently the reason why is because just like being invited, they have strange rules. And this one is because they have to count every grain of salt.
What? Wow, I've never heard of this one before.
Yeah, which is super strange. So I figured that if you feed them...
OCD?
Yeah, it might be. Maybe that's why they can't be... The invite thing also works.
So weird.
But I also figure that if you dissolve the salt and feed it to them, they're pretty much dead because they'll have to cut themselves open and...
Okay, but there's like salt and blood. Like salt just kind of exists.
Maybe, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe that's why we don't have any vampires anymore, because they realized that.
They literally just all died.
They're all just counting.
So
we see a random person in the street just looking like they're counting something. Probably
like, that's a vampire.
Totally. Another one is garlic. So the odor itself can deter a vampire. Having them eat it is that will get them. Nice. I think that one works kind of like allergies. Like when you have a nut allergy, that is
just
both airborne and ingestive. Yeah. Another one would be mustard seed, where you could put it on a roof of a house to deter vampires, but probably just eating them also will freak them out. The other one that I found interesting was a rose.
Huh.
So the scent itself can steer them away. The thorns can trap vampires in their graves, just like a stake. But the petals could harm them as well. So if you make like a rose cocktail or rose infused cocktail or something, or what are all the sakura dishes we have? Just replace it with like a rose mochi instead. You know, get rid of all those Japanese vampires.
Kill them all.
Yeah. Cinnamon.
That sounded really dark. I'm like, kill them all.
Gosh, you really hate vampires that much?
Going through a dark time here.
Another one is a cinnamon. So I guess because it's a type of cinnamon bark is like. Oh, true.
Sucks. I would die for churros. If I had to die eating anything, it would probably be a churro. TBH.
Like when a vampire bites, it's like, okay, before
it's
you
like,
bite me,
this hurts so bad. Nom, nom.
Give me one last churro.
Yeah.
The reason they say it's harmful is because it's a type of wood, so it's like staking them, I guess. So you're just
Oh, right.
staking
Just
their
micro
mouths.
stabs.
Yeah. Blackthorn is another similar one. There are also other ones like that are similar to the werewolf one. So like holly, juniper, mayflower, wolfsbane, mandrakes. All of these are kind of used and hung on windows or doors to keep them from coming close to you.
Mhm.
But infusing it in food could also potentially harm or even kill them. Speaking of, we had this one show we were doing an episode where it had like a bunch of vampires going on a vacation in a cabin that turned out to be a bunch of werewolves, owned by a bunch of werewolves. So that they fight their way through, but one of it was that the werewolves had like left like a gift basket for them because they didn't know they were werewolves at this point. And the director suggested to put wolfsbane in it, and I'm like, but how are the werewolves gonna put that wolfsbane in that
They can't
basket?
touch it.
They can't even be close to it either. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I mean,
Double KO, dude.
yeah, the name, it's literally named Wolf's Bane.
Wolfbane. Wow.
Anyway,
Big brain energy.
yeah. They also like, I think that vampire just entered without. Anyway, there's a lot of to each their own with vampires, I guess.
Yeah. There's a
Um,
lot of, I don't think I've heard of half of those. I did
yeah,
not know that flowers are bad.
yeah, yeah. Apparently they are like holly. So I guess that's they hate Christmas.
I cannot name a single Christmas thing right now. Let's
Santa
keep it that way.
Claus. Oh,
Hold on to your wreaths.
yeah, that's a thing.
That does not flow right.
No.
Whatever. Just not
Um,
even going to think about Christmas movies. All right.
hold on to your cocoa. Yeah,
It's not exclusively Christmas.
that's fair.
Moving on.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we had for vampires killing with food. And yeah, I want to go back a little bit to this idea of vampires eating human food. I still don't know. I honestly don't think they really eat for getting satisfied. Like their diet would be they're just like liquiditarians, I guess, because they just drink blood and everything else they eat for like pleasure.
I guess it depends on like what type of vampire anatomy you subscribe to.
Yeah,
There's so many different ones.
yeah. I mean, if you go by the old school concept of a vampire, their stomachs would be too like messed up to even digest any food. So
Yeah, like if they're dead, are they digesting anything?
yeah, I don't think so. If they're on, yeah. But then again, if they don't digest anything, why do zombies eat?
Yeah, those are questions I can't answer.
Yeah, it's a little too late in the night to do philosophical questions like.
I remember reading a vampire book, like a teen young adult fiction where they talk about this, the main character is a vampire.
Yeah.
And like she's like, "Oh, we actually don't eat." And like the whole turning people by feeding them your blood, that's not a real thing.
Right.
They have to do like full body transfusions
Oh.
to turn someone.
So like
I thought that was
they have to
interesting.
change their whole blood.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of the scientific part of these vampire stuff that haven't really been discussed or explored. I wonder why.
Yeah. Plot holes.
Yeah. Maybe also because they're not real.
I'm sure there's people that like hardcore RP vampires.
There are like people who do drink blood as a hobby or a thing for sure. We go more into depth about that like in our earlier episodes.
Yeah.
They like the iron taste, I guess, but then it's not really good for you to drink that much blood. Speaking of healthy, we ask 2 questions at the end of every episode. Is it healthy or is it good? For vampires,
okay.
these things aren't good for them, I guess.
I quite like rose flavored desserts, so I'm gonna give that a good.
Yeah, and like cinnamon, I guess like it's not healthy for a vampire because you're gonna die, but I'm pretty sure Angel will say
churros.
Worth it. Yeah. If it's in a churro, it is good.
What else? Garlic. I am a fan of garlic. I know a lot of people aren't.
Oh,
And to
garlic's
those
so good.
people, you're weak and you should be weeded out by natural selection. Exactly. Garlic
Um,
is great.
yeah, garlic's tasty. Mustard seed, big fan. Rose is pretty good too. I remember using that
Salt.
rose. Oh yeah,
Salt.
salt's good.
Kind of a fan.
Holy water, kind of just water.
Yeah,
So
it's just water.
if you like water, I guess sure.
I like Pedialyte. That's my new
What the heck's pee?
Pedialyte. You don't know what it's like.
That sounds like water for babies.
It is. It's like you give it to children who are sick to
Oh,
hydrate
really?
them.
No, I didn't know about that.
They kind of taste like Gatorade, but they're not sugary. So
Oh,
like they have like an electrolyte tea
just gets you
kind of taste.
electrolyte.
Yeah,
Huh.
gets you lit.
No, I did not know about that.
That's my new favorite beverage.
I'm gonna have to go hunt down a little child, I guess.
Oh,
Like I got
or
some Girl
Walmart,
Guide
you know.
cookies. Oh yeah,
You just go to Walmart.
that's an option too. I did not hunt down a bunch of Girl Guides to get our Girl Guide cookies.
Which I still have, by the way, because I didn't take them with me. So
Fair. I feel like we should do that at the end of every episode. What's your Girl Guide count?
count. Oh, mine's the same as last time,
Okay.
honestly.
So you still have quite a bit then.
Yeah.
Oh.
I went on a depression diet of not eating.
Oh,
So,
that's right.
yeah.
Sorry, I was casually like, oh, that's
Cookies.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, the cookies are still there. I should
Fair
probably
enough.
put them in the fridge because it's so hot.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Ooh, I should put Girl. That's a good idea, just in general. Cold Girl
Yeah,
Guides.
frozen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should do that. I'm down to 4 boxes, so I gotta
We gotta
probably
wait
order
till
more.
winter, man.
Damn. Yeah, I'm not gonna last. The just as a random side note too, I also looked into I guess the relation of vampire and literature and movies and how they relate to like food. And it's interesting as a metaphor to like America's devolution on like obsession with overeating, processed foods, and addiction, and like contrasting that with vampires who are more natural, organic eaters because they eat blood. Anyway, it's interesting to look at movies or like literature that kind of have that contrast of gluttonous people versus non-gluttonous vampires, I guess.
Right. Because they want like free range humans.
Yeah, exactly. But apparently it was more like an 80s concept when you're looking at like literature and movies back in the 80s. So The Lost Boys is a film that you could look into that with like the relationship of junk food with it's more like an
Vampires?
indirect relationship, because it's like you're just kind of seeing people eating a lot of food in a vampire movie.
The Lost Boys was a vampire movie? Wow, this is not the
Yeah.
movie I thought it was. I can't even tell you what I was thinking. Oh, I'm thinking of Boys in the Hood.
Oh, yeah, I was.
Like, where are the vampires? Never mind.
That's the one with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, right?
I think so, yeah.
Bad Boys.
Never mind. Okay.
And then
Wrong
there's
movie.
the book called The Hunger in 1981 as well. I thought it was
There's
an
a movie
interesting.
based on that too. I
That
think
was
David Bowie's in it.
oh, wasn't David Bowie in? No, it's not. The Lost Boys is just a very lost movie in our brain. I could see what they mean by these indirect relationships. I don't think it's as clear cut as the way they make this distinction of like vampires being written in the 80s as a way to say we should steer away from our obsession of overeating. It's an interesting argument or
Right.
thesis. I
Well, I
don't
think
quite
myths they like evolve with the time.
totally. Yeah.
So like if you were to show like Twilight to someone in the 80s, they'll be like, what the fuck is this shit? That's not a vampire.
This is what
Yeah.
you call the millennials.
Yeah. Basically. I guess it like they reflect whatever zeitgeist is going on in
Yeah,
society.
that's fair. That's very interesting, actually. Yeah. So that makes sense. Maybe vampires is our historical
Mirror,
mirror. Yeah.
but not mirror
Contrast.
because you
Yeah, the
can't see
opposite.
them in the
Ooh,
mirror.
that's why they're the contrast, because you can't see who you're not.
That's deep, bro.
This deep cut's brought to you by Really Late at Night and Overworked.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's kind of our episode. What do we want to do next? Actually, I have a list. Let me pull up a list of options. I have. Where do I start? Let's start from the top. Okay, we have ancient food traditions we still do today, eating animal genitals, cures for the plague, moose nose,
Cures of the
pangolin.
plague.
All
It goes with
right.
the theme of like death.
True. Okay, we're gonna do cures for the plague for 500 in our next episode.
Nice.
Probably in 2 weeks.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I was like, eat rats.
People die.
Lots of people.
No spoilers, but most of those did not work.
As they usually did not in history.
Exactly. All right.
You learn from your mistakes sometimes.
Yeah. Like a 1 every 10 times, I think.
If you're alive.
If you're alive.
Yeah.
When you die, it just all resets again.
Yeah. All your knowledge goes with you.
Yeah, I think because history repeats itself because people just keep dying.
Yeah,
so maybe,
it's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah. So if you're a vampire, then maybe history wouldn't repeat itself.
Unless you like ran into a tree.
Why would a vampire run
suck.
into a tree?
Oh,
like it stake itself?
Yeah. Maybe they just had enough of living, man. It's like for 200 years, all I've had to eat is blood. You know how fucking boring that is?
I'm over it.
Yeah.
Tree, come hither.
It doesn't Fine, move. I will come to you.
I'll come to you myself. All right. Well, that's it. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh my god, how do I stop?
This is Smörgåsbord.
This show was created by Angel Lin and Mick Narciso, hosted by Angel Lin and Mick Narciso, edited by Mick Narciso and Bianca Goico, logo and graphics by Angel Lin, music by Mick Narciso, and videography by Bianca Goico. The show is produced by Geek Happy Network, constantly curious about the things we love. If you enjoyed listening to Smörgåsbord, remember to subscribe to the show on Spotify, YouTube, or on your favorite podcast app. Remember to leave a review. We would love to hear your thoughts.